Hello everyone, my name is Parth Mal. My BTP project is Hands-Free Touch-Free Interaction for People with Special Needs, and today I will be talking about steady-state visual evoked potentials. So first of all, what are evoked potentials? When there is an external stimulus, our brain generates electrical signals. So when these electrical signals are measured from the scalp, these are called evoked potentials. There are mainly three kinds of evoked potentials: visual, auditory, and somatosensory evoked potentials. So whenever there is visual stimulus, brain activity modulations occur in the visual cortex of our brain. Though when these signals from the visual cortex are measured, they are called visual evoked potentials. There are mainly two kind of visual evoked potentials which are classified based on their frequency: transient VEPs and steady state VEPs. So we will study about steady state VEPs. So potential which is created by change in visual field with the frequency higher than 6 Hz is called steady state potential. It was first used by D. Regan, who experimented with long trains of stimuli that comprised of sinusoidally modulated monochromatic light, which generated small amplitude stable VEP, and which he used for mode processing. So SSVPs are mainly generated in the occipital areas of the brain and the visual cortex. Commonly used frequency range is 6 to 40 Hz, and the resonance is observed at 10, 20, 40 and 80 Hz. Now SSVPs are usually generated from the following electrode sites, which correspond to the area of the visual cortex of the brain, this area. So now let's talk about signal processing of SSVEP. So signal processing basically has three stages: signal preprocessing, feature extraction and feature classification. So first of all, let's talk about a few signal processing techniques used for SSVEPs. So these are mainly divided into two types of techniques: frequency filtering and spatial filtering. So frequency filtering methods are just your simple band pass filters or notch pass filters, which basically restrict the frequency of the raw data that we collect. Spatial filtering, on the other hand, it combines the signals from different channels to reduce the interference of the noise. There are many different methods, and the most common ones are listed here. So let's go over them one by one. So the first one is common average reference, which basically averages the value of electrodes from different sites and subtracts it from the channel of interest, that is the channels that we are interested in from the visual cortex part mainly. So this makes the EEG recording nearly reference free. The next one is minimum energy combination, which is used to cancel the noise signals as much as possible based on a sine cosine wave model. Next is a maximum contrast combination, which aims to maximize the ratio between SSVPs and the background signals. The computation is a bit more complex than that for MEC. Next is canonical correlation analysis, which computes the relation between the multivariable data sets after a linear combination of the original data. Next is principal component analysis, which basically aims to reduce the dimension of the original data and align it to the principal component. So now let's talk about a few feature extraction techniques used for SSVPs. These are fast Fourier transform, wavelet transform, Hilbert transform, MEC, which is basically used after filtering after preprocessing the SSVP signals using the maximum energy combination methods, and the power at each stimulation is of the frequency is computed as the feature variable. After that, CCA, which is correlation analysis. So after the linear combination of the original data, the two new signals, they are used to compute the correlation coefficient, which is used as the feature. After that, we have spectral F test. So these are the few common techniques used for feature extraction. Now moving on to feature classification. So there can be many different methods. A few commonly one used are value comparison, which is basically comparing the value of the feature to a threshold, decision trees, and other than that, common classifiers like linear discriminant analysis, linear Fisher classifiers, or support vector machines. So that was for all about signal processing for SSVPs. So how do SSVP based BCI work? So first of all, they require a number of visual stimuli which are continuously flickering on a screen. The participant is required to focus on one of those flickering light sources. The BCI already knows different commands associated with the different frequencies, and after getting the SSVP data, it performs all the signal processing, and it extracts the features, and from that it compares and classifies the feature, and from that it compares with the different frequencies it has available to itself, and then it takes the corresponding command. So that is the basic outline of how SSVP based BCIs work. So a few advantages of using SSVP are that it has a higher signal to noise ratio compared to other techniques. It has a faster information transfer rate, and it does not require intensive training at all, as the participant just has to look at a few flickering LED sources. So but there are drawbacks as well, that since SSVP requires users to shift their gaze, so it cannot be very useful for dealing with patients who have uncontrollable eye or neck movements. Also, the flicker stimulation can be harmful for epilepsy patients, and there can be a dislike by a normal participant due to the irritation by the flickering lights. So now, what are the different kinds of SSVP based BCIs? There are mainly two: frequency coded and phase coded. So the difference is that in frequency coding, the different commands are given based on different frequencies, whereas on phase coding, the different commands are selected by the phase of the light source. So now let's see a few SSVP based BCIs that have been used throughout till right now. So this is the first one presented by Huang et al., the QWERTY speller. So these the numbers you see on above the letters, these are the frequencies at which the corresponding light source flickered, and this was the complete setup used by them. The classification accuracy achieved on this model was 87.58%, and the information transfer rate was 40.72 bits per minute. Next, this is a matrix based speller which has 40 classes, and it is based on both frequency and phase classification. And its classification accuracy was 91.35%, and information transfer rate was 166.91 bits per minute. Next, this is character plot. So where the two left columns are used to make the character plot, and the rest three ones are used to select which dots. So for example, if I have to make an A, so first I'll focus on the frequency, I focus on the light source for this, then I'll press raise, then I'll choose this, then raise, then this, then raise. So like this I will make this shape which is given here, A, for A. So how does the character plot work? So basically, after you select this and then you select this, so it makes this line. So using this we can make the complete A shape, and it will recognize the character plot. So for this the classification accuracy was 95.66%, but the information transfer rate was low at 41.74 bits per minute. There can be other applications of SSVP BCIs which are used in industry right now, like BCI based wheelchairs, BCI is an independent application for locked-in syndrome people. So it can be used for them to answer questions like asking them their names, but they cannot speak. So they can focus on one of the two light sources. We can ask them yes/no questions, and they can focus on one of the two light sources, which for yes and for no. Other than that, there can be virtual gaming applications and visual spatial attention tracking methods using SSVP BCIs. So that was all for my seminar. Thank you. These are the few references that I've used to make this presentation. Thank you.